let's reveal Iman Gadzhi's animation secret, and that's bringing a normal image or illustration to life by animating it. Today we're gonna create this animation and I'm really excited to do so. And I actually got inspired by you guys and the community. I actually created this free community, the Social Creator Club. If you want to join, there's a link down in the description. And here this video was shared and I'll play it for you guys. And as you can see, this illustration comes to life and we have these brains too and these cool titles that come in. So after watching this video, you will know how to bring any picture alive and also where to source your illustrations. That's also the first thing that we're gonna do. We're gonna source the illustration. We're gonna use a free pick and they have a lot of free assets that you can use. And actually I was searching on it, and while we're searching, I found this. And maybe it looks familiar, and that is because it is. It is the exact same illustration that Iman also uses. I always check the file type because it's important that it has a Adobe Illustrator or EPS file, which is a vector file. If it's just a JPEG, it's going to be hard. It's not impossible. There are ways to bring this JPEG to life, but in this case, it's always easier if it is a Illustrator file or an EPS file. So let's download this, and now we have these files. And by the way, if you want to have the assets of this video or this tutorial, you can just download those in our community, which again is in the description down below. So we have Adobe Illustrator and EPS. Now we need to do one thing, and that's converting it to a PSD. Now you could do that by using Adobe Illustrator, but there's also a nice way, and that is by using Photopea, and that's actually a free online Photoshop. So we open from project and we're gonna open the Adobe Illustrator file, and we're gonna see layers now, which is really nice. We can actually disable the background. Actually, I'm just gonna delete this, and then we'll have these ugly lines. I don't know where they are. I'm gonna check where they are. We have this clock that we're gonna delete, and this too. I'm gonna search for these ugly lines. Yes, so we're gonna delete the group. There we go. I'm gonna go to image canvas size, and I'm gonna change the width to 1920 by 1080. There we go. And we need to scale these bottom layers, and we do this by going to edit, transform, and then scale. Hold shift. There we go. Enter. Next layer, transform, scale, enter. And there's one last thing that we need to do. Basically, we want the hands to move. And what's important is that these hands are on a different layer or in a different group. And to do this, it's quite simple. We're just gonna select the hands. In this case, it's built out of multiple layers. It's these top two and the bottom two. So I'm gonna just select them all, and I'm gonna hold shift and press the folder. I'm gonna call this hands, and I'm gonna move this up so we're sure that it's a separate object. And as you can see, we have the hands now in one folder. If you want to change anything in your illustration, now is the time to do so. And we're just gonna export this. So we're gonna save as a PSD, but I will also put this Photoshop file in the asset pack. Now we're gonna import it as composition, retain layer sizes, and we don't have to create a composition because it will already create a composition. Press open, editable layer styles, okay, open it. And as you can see, we have the hands in a separate folder, which is exactly what we wanted. The only thing is that it needs to be scaled a bit. So I'm gonna scale it by selecting both the layers to make sure it fills the whole scene. And now we're gonna move the hands. And this is the most exciting part. And again, if you have another illustration, you can move anything you want. We're gonna use the puppet pin tool, which is the pin icon. Select that. Now press show mesh. Now I'm gonna put a point here, I'm gonna put a point here, and I'm gonna put a point around here, and a point around here. Now what happens if I move this? The hands can move around, and look at how bendy it can even become. Like a real hand, can move it around, which is great. And in this specific animation, it's actually quite easy because the only thing that really moves are his hands, and they move closer together. So I'm gonna press U to see all my keyframes, which are at the beginning, which is great. I'm gonna move in a bit, maybe 2 seconds, and I'm gonna move it in, something like this. And then the other one is also still visible. I'm gonna move it in like this. I'm just gonna preview it. That's great. Now you can even right click keyframe assistant easy ease to make it a bit more smoother. If we look back at what we're gonna create, I see there are still a couple of things missing. The background still needs to be done. I still want some text animation. I also want the brain animation at the end. I think that looks really cool. First, I'm gonna make sure that this is black and white. By using the tint, color correction tint, we're gonna throw it on our objects first, see what that looks like. And that already looks quite cool. I think the black needs to be a bit more gray. And of course, put the tint also on the hands. The background is really easy. Layer new solid. Color doesn't matter. Actually make it a different color just to make sure that we see the difference. I'm gonna put a gradient ramp on this. Perfect. And color a bit red like this. Okay. Beneath our objects, I'm gonna add a couple keyframes here to make sure that the movement is correctly. So it moves out of the way at the end. I like that. And then we're gonna decompose this whole scene. Cartoon. Now for the text animation, I'm gonna make a dotted line first and then making sure that the pill animates in. So for the dotted line, we just grab the pen tool, fill we will turn off, and then the stroke we will put on white. I'm just gonna create it first, something like this. Open the shape layer, open the contents, open the stroke, and press the plus on the dashes. Now we can make the dashes maybe a bit longer. I would say something like this. And we're gonna move this under our cartoon. Now I'll press add and then trim paths. Open trim paths, and we're gonna animate the end by pressing the keyframe button, and I'm gonna just move this over like that. I'm gonna play it, and that's perfect. Exactly how we want it. Now for the pill, I'm gonna use a rounded rectangle tool. I'm gonna select something like this, make it more round, press our selection tool, and I'm gonna move it over. I'm gonna zoom out a bit and check the length and how big it is, and if I like it, I do like it. Maybe it's a bit too big. Maybe I want the stroke to be a bit thinner, maybe 6 thinner and longer. Now I forgot one thing, never scale like this, and I said this before, so just make sure that this is still 100 and the scale is also 100, and we're gonna just change the size, which is here. Make this a bit bigger so you can see it. And if you change your size here, then it will just move normally like you see. Perfect. Center it. Now I will duplicate it, add a gradient fill, change the fill color to a somewhat greenish, delete the end color. Okay, and I'm gonna change the sizing of this gradient to something like this. Turn the stroke off and move this under it. This is actually our stroke and this is our green background. Again, press the tool creates masks. Then we're gonna make a mask, something like this. Open the mask and we're gonna keyframe the mask path. So basically that this starts a bit here, move this over. Of course, right click our keyframe, easy ease, press the motion blur button, and that looks really cool. Now for the dopamine icon, we can actually go to free pick. Again, you can choose your icons yourself, of course, here. In this case, we download this molecule, right click layer cell, color overlay, change the color overlay to white. There we go. I'm gonna scale this down and we'll add the text dopamine, something like this. And to animate this in, I'm just gonna select all the layers that I want to animate. I'm gonna link them to the green background. I'm gonna press P for position, go back a bit, move it down, and again, right click, easy ease, like always, open that graph editor, move that graph, like always. We'll move all the layers under our cartoon, and then press T for transparency, and I'm just gonna keyframe the opacity of all the layers. I'll make sure that it goes a bit quicker actually, and of course turn the motion blur on everything on, and this looks great, exactly what we want. Now the wiggly effect that you see over the whole video and the low frames per second effect is quite easy to do, and I've already created a tutorial about this. Click in the top right if you want to see that one. This is the end result of today. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to see more of these videos. Don't forget to leave a comment, and then like always, thank you for watching and thanks for all the positive feedback. I really appreciate it. It makes me really happy. Share this channel with everyone, and then I'll see you next time.